We're live on your DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 125. This is Joe News Prime with me, Samuel Kojo Brace. Our lead stories this are the more damning findings in published KPMG audit report into GRA-SML Deal as anti-corruption campaigners intensify campaign to terminate contract and prosecute all officials involved in what they call a shady deal. Also, unresolved concerns of tanker drivers. We'll bring you details of that because we understand that there is some update into what is happening with the tanker drivers strike. I'll tell you more. Now, Ofori-Atta's arrest is pure political witch hunt, an attempt to divert attention from an unpopular administration. Leading member of Movement for Change fires back. The opposition NDC is sounding the alarm over an alleged scheme to jail minority leader Dr. Akufo-Addo at all costs. Now, in court today, the third accused person, businessman Richard Jakpa, alleged under cross-examination that Attorney General Godfrey Dame has been reaching out to him to incriminate the minority leader, Dr. Akufo-Addo. Kweku Asante of our legal desk is here in the studio with details. Kweku, what exactly did Mr. Jakpa say in court and what led to this?
Well, so Akufo-Addo, the minority leader, has been facing trial for quite some time now, for the last 2 years. And today, the judge himself had been making some point about getting this case concluded by the end of May. That has not materialized. She now says she wants to conclude the case now by the end of July. So today in court, Richard Jakpa was under a cross-examination by lawyers for Dr. Akufo-Addo. And in fact, it was the NDC Director of Legal, that is, the NDC Director Legal, directing this cross-examination today, Eduji Kuju Tameklo. And the Attorney General came in and said, Richard Jakpa, who is the third accused person in this case, that is the ambulance case, and that is the businessman who is at the center of this transaction, is actually doing his case in a way that defends the minority leader, Dr. Akufo-Addo. This is not a comment that Mr. Jakpa took quite kindly. That is when he retorted in court that the Attorney General had been reaching out to him at very odd hours, trying to persuade him to actually make a case that will incriminate the minority leader, Dr. Akufo-Addo, and inure to the benefit of the state in this trial. And so that is what he said in open court today, Brace.
Now, the NDC, Kweku, has been reacting furiously to this particular development.
Well, first, right after the proceedings in court, the National Communications Officer of the NDC, Sami Jemfi, spoke to journalists at the court premises and said that this clearly showed that the Attorney General was willing to do everything that it took to jail the minority leader, even when the evidence does not suggest so.
A scandal that just happened in the case of Honorable Akufo-Addo versus the Republic and other accused persons. As you may be aware, our minority leader and Member of Parliament for Ejumaku Enyan Isiam, the Honorable Dr. Akufo-Addo, who served as Deputy Minister under the ex-Wal NDC Mahama government, is standing prosecution for his role in the procurement of some ambulances by the then government. We've always maintained, as far as this matter is concerned, that we don't believe that the Akufo-Addo Bawumia MPP government is up to ensure that justice is done in this matter, and that this is a clear case of persecution and not prosecution. And we have times without number explained why we think that Honorable Akufo-Addo is innocent and that this whole case is needless. Now, the matter has been before the courts. Various witnesses have been called. The minority leader himself has opened his case and closed his case. Currently, the third accused is being cross-examined by lawyers for the minority leader, who is the first accused. And today, cross-examination was done by our own Director Legal, Eduji Tamaklo. So we're all in court to monitor the proceedings. But we were shocked to the marrow when the third accused, under cross-examination, disclosed to the courts that the Honorable Attorney General has been reaching out to him, calling him over the phone, and that he has met with him in person, and that the Attorney General has been asking him to give false testimony to the court and skew his testimony in such a way that corroborates the case of the Attorney General against the first accused, so that the first accused can be convicted and jailed. He said this in open court and asked that it should be put on record. And her leadership also directed that same should be captured by the record. And so what we are talking about is something which is on record. And we as a political party are totally scandalized and disgusted by this development. We are not surprised because we've always known that this is a stock in trade of Godfrey Yeboah-Dame.
Well, Kweku, about an hour ago, the NDC National Chairman, Johnson Asiedu-Nketia, put out a statement. What is contained in that statement?
Well, yes, according to the statement, the NDC said it has come to the attention that during proceedings of today in court, Thursday, 23rd May, in the matter of the trial of the leader of the NDC, Dr. Kisela Ato-Forson, it has come that there are matters which form part of the record that the Attorney General has made several meetings, has had several meetings with the third accused person, Richard Jakpa, at odd hours and telephone conversations, impressing on him to skew his testimony and implicate the minority leader. These are matters which form part of the court's record of today's proceedings. The NDC is deeply scandalized that this is a clear case of persecution against the leader of the party's caucus in Parliament, who has been at the forefront of our struggle against the misrule of the oppressive and despotic Akufo-Addo NPP regime. The revelation goes to confirm the legitimate and long-held suspicion of the devious modus operandi of the Attorney General, Godfrey Yeboah-Dame, and the government he represents. It further shows the desperate lengths the Akufo-Addo NPP government will go to manipulate judicial proceedings to unjustly victimize persons. It says the NDC wished to serve notice that early next week, the party shall hold a full-blown press conference and put out incontrovertible evidence on this matter that will shock the nation. They say they will not stop at anything in pursuing this matter to its logical conclusion.
But in an interesting twist, the Attorney General has also put out a statement denying, knowledge of what the NDC is accusing him of. Well,
yes, the Attorney General says it has come to his attention that there are certain media commentaries by persons associated with the NDC on an allegation made by the third accused person in court today. For the record, the Attorney General is setting the record straight. That is his side of the story. He says the Republic has, throughout the trial, relied solely on the record of the impugned transaction, that is the purchase of ordinary vans purporting to be ambulances. This record existed before January when the case was commenced. The Republic has never required or desired the cooperation of any of the accused persons in the matter, which it has already succeeded in establishing a prima facie case against all the accused persons. Neither the Attorney General nor any officer from the Office of the Attorney General has approached any of the accused persons with a view of obtaining evidence from them. It is rather the third accused person who, by various letters dated 27th April 2023, 16th May 2023, and 30th May 2023, as well as 12th June 2023, proposed to the Republic through the Attorney General to engage in plea bargaining or plea negotiations. This plea bargaining proposal has to date not been accepted by the Attorney General. Even though the law on plea bargaining passed by Parliament permits a prosecutor to negotiate with an accused person after a plea proposal has been made, the AG has not engaged the third accused person to give false testimony in this matter. The statement continues that the Attorney General has also come under enormous pressure from all manner of persons for him to discontinue the prosecution of the first accused person, Kisela Ato-Forson, but has not yielded. The statement continues, and in concluding, it says the Attorney General has video evidence of the first accused person, that is the minority leader Ato-Forson, coming to meet him, to plead with him to discontinue the prosecution. This the Attorney General has refused to do. The Attorney General continues by saying that he has not done anything that they are accusing him of, and the Ministry of Justice considers the latest allegation leveled against the AG as part of a grand scheme by the NDC to put more pressure on him, the AG, to discontinue the prosecution or to divert attention from the real issues regarding the actions of the accused persons, which have caused enormous financial loss to the state. Ultimately, the Attorney General said he has not done anything wrong. He will continue to prosecute this case. He only viewed this as an attempt to pile pressure on him, undue pressure, to drop this case, Bruce.
Interesting, Kweku. I'm grateful to you. Now, Sami Jemfi is the National Communications Officer of the NDC, and he joins us via phone now. Sami, I'm grateful for joining us. Now, first off, the Attorney General in that statement is categorically saying that he has done nothing wrong, and that per the plea bargaining act, the accused person or the prosecutor has a right to meet with the accused person. And even if there has been a meeting, that is what it was about, and not to coerce him to make a case against the first accused, Akufo-Addo. What do you say to that?
We are not talking about an allegation being made by the NDC. We are talking about what happened in open court today, where the third accused person under cross-examination told the court on record that the Attorney General has called him severally at odd hours, met him physically severally, and has been impressing on him to skew his testimony in a way that corroborates his case against Honorable Akufo-Addo for a conviction of the minority leader. He told the court that the Attorney General has been coercing him to falsify evidence and implicate Akufo-Addo. This happened in court. It was evidence given by a witness. It forms part of the record of proceedings for today. The Attorney General could not deny this evidence in court. So this post facto attempt by the Attorney General to obfuscate the issues by issuing this wishy-washy statement is neither here nor there. If he had any credible response to the third accused, he would have made that case in court. He couldn't, because he knows that what the third accused said is the gospel truth. Now, we are saying that even beyond what the third accused testified in open court, we have incontrovertible evidence which we will be putting out tomorrow about the underhand dealing of this honorable Attorney General and the desperate length he goes to pervert the courts of justice, just to persecute political opponents for cheap political goal scoring. And we serve notice. We told you early next week, it won't go beyond Wednesday. That press conference will be held. What the Attorney General is trying to do is trying to engage in equalization, obfuscate the issues, muddy the waters, and divert attention from the main issue that happened in court today.
But Sami, why take the third accused person's statement in court for it and refuse to take what the AG is also explaining? That, well, I never asked him to coerce him to make a case against the first accused.
The AG was confronted in his face in court. Why couldn't he say that when the witness was sitting there?
I spoke to Wilberforce, who speaks for the AG. He says they put that defense in court.
In court where?
Today.
Where? Master, it's a lie. If you had reporters, they asked them, nothing like that happened. This is a post facto attempt, to defend the indefensible. And you see, even armed robbers, when they are arrested, always have a defense. Okay. They always deny their crime. So I will not be surprised if Akufo-Addo, having realized that his sins have eventually caught up with him, tries to deny the obvious.
Okay,
I will not be surprised if he says he has done no such thing. You don't expect him to come and incriminate himself and confess to the commission of a crime. No, you don't expect him to do that.
Sami, I'm grateful to you.
At the end of the day, the evidence will settle the matter.
Okay, Sami, I'm grateful.
Hearing him, we are daring Akufo-Addo to this esteemed medium to publish any video evidence he has of a minority leader pleading with him to drop the case against him. If he's a man if he has the balls, if he has any modicum of integrity left in him, he should publish that video today. It's not even wait till tomorrow. He should publish it. He is a bloody liar. He has no such video evidence of the minority leader pleading with him to drop any case.
Okay,
and that is why he's only issuing empty threats.
Sammy, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that you've been able to join us here. Sammy Gyamfi is the National Communications Officer of the NDC. Right, away from that, it has emerged that the Ghana Revenue Authority did not put in place any mechanism to monitor how SML was performing the multi-billion cedi revenue assurance contract. Last night, President Akufo-Addo ordered the release of the full KPMG audit report into the GRA-SML deal that the minority and some element of civil society had described as shady. There is currently enormous pressure on the government to abrogate the contract following the publication of the full report. Our research team has been studying the 306-page report, and a member of the team, Isaac Ofori-Atta, joins me with details. But before that, we can hear from a private legal practitioner and member of the We Be Citizens CSO movement, Martin Pebu, who says the damning revelations in the report makes it imperative for the state to terminate the deal immediately.
Because I've seen parts of the reports, the ones that are showing that SML didn't deliver. So we need to now quantify how much we lost and to hold Ofori-Atta and the other persons involved for this loss. And also, let's not forget, we need to terminate this agreement because, you see, Aisha, you know it very well. In law, when an agreement is void, no, the Supreme Court has made it clear that when an agreement like that is void, public agencies shouldn't pay money. Because if the Supreme Court, and I'm talking about the Martin Amidu versus Waterville and Wyoming, etc., Isofotone and all those companies, because the Supreme Court is saying that, hey, if they don't put in that policy, public officers can collude and enter into illegal contracts and pay, and then say, oh, but the people have worked. So let's go a bit further to explain. So under general contract law, sometimes an agreement can be void, but once you've worked, you will be paid for, because it's unfair to say that somebody has worked, but just because the paperwork is not good, then you say you want to take the work for free.
Well, the journalist who did this investigation does not agree with this finding of KPMG that SML contributed to an increase in tax revenue given its work in the petroleum sector. Manasseh Azure spoke on the Super Morning Show.
SML also claims to be curtailing these losses or curbing these anomalies. We confront SML, and if you look at the documentary, it is there. We are not making a claim. SML openly said they were not providing these services. So it isn't only one company that is working. Besides, there are officials of the Customs Division of the Ghana Revenue Authority at every depot working day and night to save the losses of the past. So what this report has failed to say and cannot say is how SML kept these or helped to improve revenue. When even the measurement SML takes, those measurements are not used for tax purposes. So the question we should be asking KPMG is, how can you attribute the growth to SML? Because there are many companies that are doing these services. And the question, a simple question I have not heard SML answer is whether they are checking diversion, whether they are checking dilution, whether they are checking under declaration or under reporting. We are losing revenue through these anomalies. The company that is being credited with the success is not performing any of these. So what problem is SML solving? Together with the GRA officials, we were at SML. And
Now, the NDC has also been wading into the controversy. National chairman of the opposition NDC, Johnson Asiedu-Nketia, claims the president published the report because the minority leadership insisted after a meeting with the president to do so.
It's been released.
The president, no, maybe before I entered here, because this morning it was...
The president directed that.
It was a condition that Dr. Akufo-Addo gave.
Right.
When there was a meeting between the president and the leadership of parliament. The president was trying to get their concurrence
on a number of issues.
On a number of issues and the approval of this agreement.
This was part of what the NDC said.
So, yeah, we said that, look, we suspected there was something wrong. And then you put KPMG there to verify. The report is in. You don't want us to see it, and yet you want us to proceed to go and approve something. So publish it for every Ghanaian to know, so that we will see that what you are presenting to Parliament actually contains the corrective actions.
Okay, so this was
that will help you
quid pro quo.
Yes.
Give us this, and we'll also support you.
Sure.
So that was a
yes,
request
in the interest of the state. Yes,
and that is why.
Yes, I believe that is why the president has done what he did.
I see. Some also say it has been released at this time to water down the effect of the Senate by the Champon saga. You don't believe that?
Well, if the president invited the leadership to water down this one, I wouldn't know. But I know it was a demand that civil society were making, and we were also making.
Are you happy now? Now that it's been released?
We are now going to read the report to know what is contained in there and to be able to decide whether we are comfortable approving anything or not.
Now, let's start with the evolution of this particular matter, starting with the company, Kofi. So let's understand how this company came about.
So, Kojo, it all started, February 2017 when a company called SMLE was actually introduced into the system. Now, between June and September 2017, GRA made 3 unsuccessful attempts to do what? To obtain PPA approval for a single source SMLE to provide transaction audit services for GRA.
And it's important we let the listeners know that the reason that didn't succeed was that PPA said the SMEL did not have the experience and the capacity to be given a single source.
Absolutely.
That's why they didn't.
Yeah. So they failed that. Then in November, what happened is that SMEL now becomes SML. So the E has been removed, now is SML. What happens? After that November, June 2018, there was some sort of joint, contract. That same SML was now appointed as subcontractor to West Blue Ghana Limited, which was a service provider to the GRA. Then after that same year, GRA then extended the transaction audit service contract with SML. And then SML then transitioned to become main contractor without PPA approval. So what they were trying to do in June 2017, between June and September 2017, and they could not because PPA brought that restriction. They were able to do that after going through the West Blue Company Limited. There was then an extension. Then they were given the full contract that same year. Now let's look at the next one, which talks about the evolution of SML. 2019, 2020, 2020. What happened? GRA then dishes out, more additional ones to SML under the same format. Now, 2023, what we know is that the Ministry of Finance, GRA and SML then consolidated the first consolidation contract and the downstream petroleum audit contract and extended the scope of SML's services to include now upstream petroleum and minerals audit. We understand the minerals, they are yet to start, but as we speak, or per the analysis done by KPMG, SML had the contract both at the upstream level and the downstream level.
Interesting. So those are quite interesting details. But we have more of this on the Major Online platform. But just before, let's just pick on what the report said in terms of what this deal was all about.
In fact, what has become the bone of contention is the fact that SML was given that contract without PPA approval. What is the Act saying? The Act is saying that a single source arrangement, and that's what we were trying to do, must receive prior approval from PPA. That did not happen. Then we understand that on all three occasions, SML, just like you were saying, occasions sought PPA approval for the contract. Then SML, now we know, changes to SML. But all of those things, when they were doing that, they could not get the contract. Now what happens? PPA declined all the three separate requests on the grounds of SMLE's lack of competence. So what you're trying to say, and the prior experience in providing the subject matter services. Now, after some time, they were given, that contract. Let's look at the next slide, which talks about the Public Financial Management Act. What does it say? It says that you need ministerial and parliamentary approval for any form of contract that binds the government of Ghana in financial terms beyond 1 year. We understand the SML deal has been going on for 5 years. And per KPMG, there's no evidence of parliamentary and, ministerial approval in terms of the SML deal. Let's look at the last one, which has to do with payments to SML. We understand between the period that KPMG analyzed, I love dollars, so let me quote the value in dollars, $186.33 million. If you net it, we are talking about over $140 million in payment made to SML. Did they pay tax? Let's look at that. Now, we understand that in terms of VAT, for the period 1st September 2020 to 30th April 2021, a bulk payment to SML covering invoices for an 8-month period did not have VAT and withholding tax deductions amounting to 13.38 million Ghana cedis. Now, according to KPMG, when they told them about this, the GRA then goes to SML and say, "Give us our money." So, in terms of the deduction they made, we understand that there were periods that SML did not pay VAT and withholding tax.
Interesting. So there's more of these analysis on myjoyonline.com. Away from that, the tanker drivers have called off their nationwide strike. Earlier today, however, fuel stations across the country started running out of supplies due to the tussle between the Association of Tanker Drivers and the OMCs. Latif Idrisu was at the Nimagoa filling station.
Already I'm picking information that since yesterday, a number of fuel stations have not had any supply.
Well, the problem is that since yesterday, we've not received any product. So if by tomorrow morning we don't get, then we are going to short here. So it is going to have a bad impact on the public. I'll appeal to the authorities who are in charge of the problems of the tanker drivers to try to resolve it so that they can come back to work.
But your one key player or stakeholder is the MPA. They say they didn't employ these tanker drivers.
No. It's the tanker owners that employ the drivers. So we have to come to a compromise and see how best we can come together and solve that problem.
To warriors, because this environment, this only the filling station we have around here. So going shortage, it will worry us more.
So what do you have to say to the tanker drivers?
They have to continue their work. They have to talk to their bosses and anything they have to sort it out and continue their work.
When it's like a shortage, in the way you are saying it, and I did not get the fuel from yesterday, tomorrow going, I'll feel it will be difficult for me to move around. Yes. So I learned if you, the journalists, will be saying something so that the government can hear, so that they can do something about it. I think it will be okay for us. Yes.
Well, those were some people speaking to my colleague Latif Idrisu there. This is still the Joy News Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more. Please don't go away. This is still the Joy News Prime. Let's do more stories now, because the leader of Mr. Ofori-Atta's legal team and a key member of the Movement for Change, lawyer Ofori-Atta, says the arrest and detention of his client is nothing but politics and a desperate attempt by the governing party to divert the attention of Ghanaians from the bad press it has received within the last few weeks. He says some government functionaries who view Mr. Addoye's posturing and criticism of them as a threat to the current administration are behind the arrest. Lawyer Ofori-Atta spoke with my colleague Latif Idrisu at the Dansoman Circuit Court, where he says the attack will not stop Mr. Addoye and the Movement for Change Alliance.
As at midday Thursday, Mr. Ofori-Atta and his legal representation were at the ministry's police station, where Mr. Addoye was arrested and detained overnight in a bid to evaluate and ascertain the sureties that were presented to the Dansoman Circuit Court. You would appreciate that Mr. Addoye was granted bail to the tune of some 20,000 Ghana cedis with two sureties, one of them to be justified. When we got in touch with the legal representation led by lawyer Ofori-Atta, he told us that his team were concluding the evaluation of the surety at the ministry's police station, and he was confident that Mr. Ofori-Atta will not spend yet another evening in police custody.
Part of the execution is that the investigator is satisfied the sureties are where they can find them. Okay. So now they are on a quest to look out at where the sureties live. After they are satisfied the sureties can be traced, they will come back to the court to sign, and that will mean the execution of the bail bond, upon which Mr. Ofori-Atta will be released.
Mr. Ofori-Atta believes that the arrest of Mr. Ofori-Atta is nothing but politics and distraction.
It's the truth. What's happening with the SNET divestitures, what's happening with the SML, publication of the full SML report are things that the government really wants to run away from. And the belief is that this will divert public attention. It's what is called a dead cat in journalism. I'm sure you guys are aware of what a dead cat is. When you float something funny and then it diverts everybody from, by the time we all come back to it, then this will not be news anymore. So it is a diversion. What is going down is dirty. The SML report is bad, it's dirty. The SNET situation is bad, it's dirty. And the government wants to move away from those things with sensationalism. Arrest Ofori-Atta, everybody is talking about it. After 1 week, everybody would have forgotten the debt in the SML, the debt in SNET, and then government is comfortable, and Mr. Addoye is left to go, because the charges are hollow. You can't put him anywhere.
But in court earlier, there were arguments by both sides, the prosecution and counsel for Mr. Ofori-Atta. On his part, the lawyer for Mr. Ofori-Atta made the case that Mr. Addoye is a public figure, well-known, good character, who has never been charged with any offense that has landed him in jail before. He also made reference to Attorney General Martin Pebu 2015-2016, where the Supreme Court ruled that all offenses are bailable. The prosecution, on the other hand, said Mr. Addoye's crime was the publication of false information or false news, and that also hinged on national security, because he mentioned the explosives and then of bombs in the border town of Ghana and Togo. And so that hinges on national security. And he said that if he's granted bail, Mr. Addoye has the potential of interfering with the ongoing investigations. But the judge, after listening to both arguments, granted bail to Mr. Addoye up to the tune of 20,000 Ghana cedis with two sureties, one to be justified. The case, as we understand, has been adjourned to June 26th for case management. From the Dansoman Circuit Court here in Accra, this is Latif Idris reporting.
Welders and seamstresses in Kumasi continue to bear the brunt of the erratic power supply, as many of these small business operators find themselves idle on a daily basis. The Ashanti regional capital has in recent days witnessed a return to constant power cuts, with some parts of the city staying out of electricity for close to 6 hours daily. In this episode of our Doomsor series, or Doomsor Diaries, Emmanuel Bright Kweku caught up with some workers who are calling for a load management table to plan their lives.
Tahiru, a welder at Ija, is busy at work welding a metallic mesh cage he had planned to work on the previous day. But the power situation in the country is biting hard on his daily income.
I buy around 10, 11, buy a light or I need to have machine light or I fix BBA, my grinding machine.
I had plans to work on the cage yesterday when there was light. But shortly after it went off. I was hoping for it to return in the next hour, but it never did. I am rushing to complete it now.
A few meters away from Tahiru's shop, his colleague Osman is also bearing the brunt of the power outage.
I cannot work without electricity. I have been idle almost the entire day. I have apprentices working under me. How do I pay them if there is no work to do?
The Ashanti region has in recent days returned to unbearable intermittent power cuts, throwing many businesses and households into a state of dormancy, like the welders, seamstresses along the Ofori-Atta lane at Ija are not exempted from the power crisis. This embroidery shop on the stretch has their owners idling as they wait eagerly for power to return.
Inflation is skyrocketing. At last, if we had light, we would work to get some money to fend for ourselves.
And then I buy young for the extras.
The government isn't helping at all. What is annoying is the fact that we have to pay for electricity bills.
These apprentice and master are not spared the pressures from their customers as they must meet deadlines for sewing dresses.
Anyone in because there isn't light, we cannot iron the sewn dresses. My master is always pleading with the customers.
While the government claims to be conducting maintenance at the energy sector, these workers are calling for a load management table.
They should admit it's doing so. They should just give us a schedule to plan our lives.
And one say me coffee, I must have any macacra meeting me. I am media coffee in the Macquarie. I'm Macquarie. But already do so. I'm kind of crunches do so.
They should tell us the truth. This is the timetable
down. Let's say who cast much Rubia or sort of side. I cannot.
I'll be able to plan my life if given the schedule. I won't waste my money and time to come here and idle about.
For Joy News, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Now, the Environmental Protection Agency is engaging local assemblies across the country to integrate climate change adaptation strategies into their development plans. Now, the stakeholders' engagement aim to equip the assemblies with climate consciousness and knowledge. The EPA is seeking to address the increasing vulnerability of communities to climate change impact. Here's a report by Clinton Yeboah.
The phenomenon of climate change continues to wreak havoc in the world, and Ghana is no exception. Many parts of the country are recording abnormal flood situations and severe temperatures. Recognizing this, the Environmental Protection Agency has structured a stakeholder training to assemble climate activists, local government officials, and technical experts to develop climate-conscious strategies for future development plans. According to the Director of Climate Vulnerabilities and Adaptation at EPA, Dr. Akufo-Addo, the effort is to allow the assemblies to appreciate the diverse climate challenges and opportunities within their respective districts.
So you have some coming from the coastal community, Cape Coast. You have some from the middle belt. Then you also have the transitional zone. So you have Wenchik and Tampo, and then Savannah in the northern part. So you have Tamale, you have Walawale, we also have Navrongo. Each of these ecological zones represents 7 climatic conditions. And so it will allow them to be able to appreciate the differences and how they can share common understanding. Climate change is a cross-sectoral issues, and so people might see different issues from different perspectives.
The workshops, which cover a range of topics including vulnerability assessments and climate finance access, sought to equip participants with real-life representations of technical knowledge of climate change issues. The participants were taken on a field visit to Ofori in the Bekwai Municipal Assembly to ascertain the uncovered pits of illegal mining in the area and their repercussion on climate. The team also checked on some areas in Anyuan Kwanta where there have been perennial floods due to the Oda River overflow. Dr. Nchibo Siako indicates the field visit will inform future support to helping vulnerable communities build resilience against the adverse effects of climate change.
It's not like just going to be a talk show. We are going to actually make sure that we follow up with the plan that Bekwai has and see whether some of the things that they were talking about, we can support the Assembly to structure these issues and then look for financing to be able to address some of these issues.
Municipal Chief Executive for Bekwai, Kweku Chei-Bafo, says professed recommendations from the team will influence the development plan for the municipality.
Welcome. Let's do showbiz now, and Becky Bex is already in the house. Hi, Becky. How you doing?
I'm okay. I'm okay. How you doing? My voice changed, right?
Was it?
Sometimes I feel like, you know, I need to change my voice or something. Maybe
really?
I'm depressed.
Well,
I don't know.
What about doing
well,
that?
somebody said he was depressed. James Gardner says that he's depressed, but that's not what we're talking about.
Oh, okay.
Let's talk about Raskuku. He was in the studios of Hit FM this morning, and he's been making shocking revelations. So he mentioned that, you remember the Ifyekuma Love?
Yeah.
Kofi Kenata's Ifyekuma Love that came out last year. Apparently, they had the song together.
Oh,
so he had his verse on the song, but upon the release of the song, he realized that his verse was sticking out. He didn't take it really lightly, though, but let's listen to Raskuku.
Ifyekuma, I was on.
Kofi Kinata's album?
The song, I was on.
Ifyekuma?
The Broken Heart?
Yeah, the love.
No, Ifyekuma Love.
Okay, the new one.
No,
which one? The reggae one.
Yes, yes. Ifyekuma Love.
You were on?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be.
I was supposed to be on. I was on. I did my verse.
Wow.
On that song?
On that song.
So why was it on?
Kofi Missy,
I'm not asking. Why is that done the best? It was a question.
Omusi abogise ku hey omunti asie omubusa so ba beneti hu omunti asie oba mesi kovi forget one omumu ade.
Okay, so what happened?
I don't know. No.
Your verse was taken off.
I don't know, and I don't want to.
You remember your verse?
Some.
2020. Was this the same song?
Yeah, this same song, but after I did it, and then he went to sing it again.
And
but me, you see me, and a lot of people, they do things to me in this industry. I just they keep quiet, they watch. I know they talk. But one day.
Maybe he meant no harm.
I don't mean no harm.
Maybe your verse wasn't good enough. That could also be a factor.
Thank you.
Maybe your verse wouldn't fit his new version.
So why don't you say then maybe? Okay, you are saying maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Maybe.
Okay, then the other side to maybe your verse was harder than his.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So it wasn't good for it, because if it's too good or if it's better than what I have, it's not good for it. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Raskuku there. Kofi has actually responded on TikTok. Yeah, he said that. I mean, he's been explaining. I'll bring you that particular story some other time.
Sure.
But let's talk about the greatest band. I caught up with the greatest band, the group of solid musicians that I caught up with at the weekend, and they've been talking about their unique qualities, and they highlight their 5-year journey in this industry. They call themselves the greatest band of all time. Well, who will say that they're the girl? I mean, we can argue about it. Performance was solid. First time on Joy News. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
So we happen to have the manager here, and you're the lead singer.
Yeah, band leader and also lead singer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we want to know about the greatest band.
It's a concept that I had when I was moving to Ghana. I've always wanted to work with musicians from West Africa because I feel they are very talented. So when I got the opportunity, I came down, I had a concept, I networked, and I got my group. It's been a journey, which I will not get into details, otherwise this interview will not end right now. But the reception has been so overwhelming. I think I might have started something that is just now taking a life of its own, and it's just getting bigger and bigger, and we just realize we really have to live up to the name, the greatest band. Yes, yes.
One thing that I noticed, first of all, before I go back to the manager, is the fact that you can... Well, I know that Michael Jackson is not here with us, but this evening's performance, you could tell that he's somewhere around. I mean, obviously, you get your inspiration from Michael Jackson, but I don't...
Yeah. Literally, no. I was taught by my father, Apostle Dr. Kujusafo. Yeah, he taught me everything I know today. He taught me how to blend my voice from one artist to the other. Yeah, so yeah, I owe him everything. Actually, he's the reason why I am what I am today. Yeah.
I mean, you've been together for 5 years and still continuing to be a group, and you're looking forward to greater things ahead. What are your expectations, moving forward? Because I know that you play here every Saturday.
Okay. First of all, it's been an amazing experience, and I feel we are now challenged to really spread our wings. I've heard that a lot of suggestions have been coming our way that we should do our own music, which is of course something that we are aspiring to do, and we'll work on it in the future. But for now, we want to sell as nostalgia. You see, when you come and watch us, you remember the days, and you can never put a price to that. You can never put a price to memories and feelings of those days. So we are so happy when people are happy. It just makes us go back to the drawing board and say, what can we do better? So yes, we want to do our own songs, but I've done music for quite a long time. I have like 2 decades of music. I look young, but so I have the experience, and I'm bringing my experience forward and trying to work with musicians who want to work with me, and hence the greatest band was born.
So the greatest band, if you want to meet the greatest band, they're always playing at Soho Bar every Friday. Meet up with them, fantastic people. Right there, Brace, I'll take you there.
You need to.
This
you
Friday.
Need to. You need to take me places.
Yeah. Why are you acting like you're begging me?
Oh, no, I'm not begging you.
Give me money before I take you places.
No problem. I'll make the money available.
All right. Before we go, the CEO of Nigeria's National Film and Video Censors Board, Shaibu Hussaini, says the federal government has approved the prohibition of money rituals and glamorizing vices in Nollywood films. Mr. Hussaini disclosed this at an event in Enugu on Wednesday. The event was organized by the NFVCB and Corporate Accountability and Public Participation Africa. Movie producers, directors, actors from different parts of West African countries, and leaders of various guilds and associations in Nigeria film industry were present at the event. Mr. Hussaini said, quote, "Today we are facing an industry emergency requiring bold and ambitious actions from all parents, guardians, and stakeholders. When my predecessor approached the former Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, on the need to make subsidiary legislation to curtail the display of smoking in Nigerian movies, he saw the need to include money rituals." So no more.
Exactly. All right, thank you, Becky, there. Well, but remember to brush your teeth before you go to bed this evening and tomorrow morning. When you wake up from bed with either the Pepsodent Cavity Fighter, Pepsodent Charcoal, Pepsodent Herbal,
or Pepsodent Triple Protection, because with Pepsodent, every smile matters. Please log on to myjoyonline.com for more news. Check out E-Vibes is coming. I'll tell you all about Atongo Zimba tomorrow. The show is actually on Saturday on Joy News and Joy.
Becky.